What's going on, traders? Welcome to the Day Trading Show. Today, we're going to sit down with Evan. Evan is a co-streamer of mine on ASFX TV. He is a ASFX trader, and he's doing incredibly well. He's beaten out myself this year so far in percentage returns, Tom, and James. So Evan is at the top of the ASFX leaderboard. So we want to pull as much value from him as we can. In today's episode, we're going over his recent trades, long and short, and you're going to see some of the patterns in his best trades and how he's really just doubling down on that, on what's working, and that's what's leading to the continued success. So sit back and enjoy. You're going to love it. Make sure you check the link in the description. There's a free trial to ASFX TV where you can come watch me and Evan stream live all week long. You can trade with us, ask questions, watch recordings of the trade sessions. All of that is on ASFX TV. So check that out. Now, enjoy the episode. All right, traders, we're back. We've got a special episode today. So I'm sitting down with Evan. Evan is, I'll say it like plain and simple, he's crushing his trading this year. He's up more than me, James, and Tom. I don't know about combined, but separately. So I wanted to sit down with him today, and we're actually going to do something a little bit unique for the podcast. We're going to do a screen share. So if you're listening to this while you're driving, I'm going to talk you through the charts we look at. But if you have the ability to either watch on Spotify or watch on YouTube, this is probably one of those episodes you want to sit down and watch, because we're going to go over, what is it, Ev, 8 trades or so, something like that?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this, bro. I appreciate you giving me the time. I know the audience, you've been building a little bit of a following. Imagine that, a little bit of a following on ASFX TV. So more and more people, like, you're like the up and coming James, bro, because you're the newest guy in the group. And like, I remember when James was new, everybody wanted to learn how he trades. They were like, how does he see the ASFX system? Because I saw him crushing it. And I just see the same kind of thing happening for you. So the audience that's listening is probably a lot of your ASFX TV audience. It's probably a lot of the people in ASFX in general, or your Instagram followers. So we're going to go into some deep detail today, more than you give us in those 60-second reels that you post. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So first thing, talk to the group a little bit about what are you trading that you're finding so much success with? Strategy, pair, time of day.
I'm trading strictly A2 pretty much at this time. That's where I'm finding the most success on this current win streak that I'm on. It's all A2s. It's all, funnily enough, I'm finding the best trades before the New York Open. Anytime after 9:30, so starting at like 10 to noon, I'm just not trading as much. So in the past, it used to be the opposite. I could wake up super early or I could wake up late. But now it's pretty much all pre-New York, all FX pairs, and maybe an indice. But it's mostly Forex, where just a few months ago, we were trading Bitcoin in the indices. Bitcoin's now gone for my trading for now. But it's all like GJ, EJ, just the main Forex pairs, all A2 pre-New York.
That's interesting. Where you're taking entry pre-New York, 5-minute, 15-minute, what time frame do you prefer?
I prefer the 15-minute. We just talked about this the other day.
Right.
Because I did take a 5-minute, but I definitely prefer the 15. It's just a lot slower. Like James got off the 1 minute, that's super fast. 5 minutes still could be a little bit fast. The stop loss could be a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
And I just find more comfortable on the 15-minute, and that's just what I've been using the most throughout these years, whether it was the A1 or D1.
Yeah.
The 15-minute was always involved. So,
dude, it's funny. James called the 5-minute today. He called it a vortex. He's like, they all just look the same. The 5 minutes all just look the same. You just get sucked into looking at it, and then you can't see anything else, and it's too fast. So now I think he's even getting away from the 5-minute a little bit. I'm always like torn about the 5-minute. You see my trades. So you see, like, sometimes like people ask me, how do you grade the 5-minute trades? And I'm like, if I had an exact answer, I would tell you, because I use like the 15-minute in my grading of the 5-minute. So it's not like I have this cut and dry system for it yet.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I'm always wondering myself of like, well, the 15-minute looks like this, but I'm trading the 5, but I definitely always take the 15-minute into account.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see, like, in your profit taking, I feel like that's a big area that traders get hung up on. They get greedy. They stay in trades too long. So before we share screen, speak a little bit about the approach to profit taking. Because I think, especially for guys that are trying to get funded, that are watching us on ASFX TV, they're joining into our live sessions, they want to find wins. That's really easy. But making those wins and locking them in as wins, I think, is where people screw themselves up.
No, yeah, that was absolutely me months ago, a year ago. Just I was staying in them too long. I want more. Nothing's ever enough. It can keep going. So let me just see how much further I could take this. But I'm finding so much more consistency and just calmness when I get my win, I bag it, I'll come back tomorrow, and I find another good trade. And I think it also comes from like confidence of that I've been doing well. I've been finding more trades that I don't need to hold on to this one forever. because I could find another one tomorrow that's just as good, and I'll get in that. I don't need to hold
Confidence,
on.
confidence in what? Confidence in your system that you're going to get another entry. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
used to be, I guess, I'm gonna hold on to this because this is gonna make up for all the next week or two. But now I could just bag my win, stack another on top, whether it's today, tomorrow, or wait till next week. But they're just gonna keep coming.
And what about the losses? Because I feel like you've had a couple of losses, but you shake them off very easily. So what are you mentally thinking in the moment of those losses? How are, because like a lot of guys struggle to cut the loss. They'll move the stop loss, they'll take the stop loss out, they'll do a bunch of crazy shit. So what are you doing to keep those losses small?
I'm never touching the stop loss. It's always gonna be where it is on the fib. But it's just, I guess, again, from confidence of knowing that that was a good signal. As long as I did what I was supposed to, I followed my rules. If I didn't follow my rules, then I could see maybe why it was a bad loser. But if I followed my rules, I executed when I was supposed to get in, when I was supposed to get out, how I sized, how I reacted, then it was just a loss.
Yeah.
I'll go over it again in the afternoon when I'm been a couple hours since I'm out of the trade. Yeah, it's a good trade. I just took a loss. I'll come back
And,
tomorrow.
and what about the fundamentals? Like, are they playing a factor in the confidence and in the ability to cut these losses quick? Are you using them at all?
Not in my Forex trades. No, I wouldn't. I don't think.
It's
No.
like almost like the fundamentals are sometimes noise to Forex pairs.
Yeah,
And
especially
it,
with news today and any news, it's just who knows what's going to come out as and how it's going to react. Even if it's dollar news, but it's not a dollar pair.
yeah.
I just I don't listen to it.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you find that trading has become simpler with the A2 strategy than it was previous for you? Because you've been in ASFX before the A2 was a thing that we were really using. Is it simpler for you now?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I
I
think that's
remember
good.
before we
Sorry.
even had the indicator and before we got the stats and all that. As soon as you mentioned it, you and Tom mentioned it, I started studying it, fell in love with it immediately, and just caught it easy. And since it's from the beginning, it's now been what, for me at least, like 8 months of using it that I feel very comfortable with it.
100%. Okay, let's get into the screen share. I'm sure everybody's biting for the bit here, chomping at the bit to see these trades. So now we kind of set the stage, right? We talked about the time frames you're looking at, the strategy you're looking at, just trying to repeat. I know you and I have spoken about it, but I want to have you on here and speaking to the audience, our audience, more about it because I know, number one, not everybody listens, but number two, I think people overcomplicate trading more than they realize. I've sat with a couple of people. This will be the last thing before we get into the screen share. I've sat with some of the people, bro, in the Black Shirt Club, and it's crazy because we track all the stats. Like you have your report card, you track everything as well. Like some people are making money. Let's just call it in one time frame, 2 hours of the day, and they're giving all of it back and some doing in this other time frame. And it's so clear. Like just stop trading in the afternoon for that example, and you would keep the money that you've made. So it's like the simple things I think what compound the gains, and we tend to chop into our wins by doing more. So I think the reason I wanted to talk to you is like you're really focused, at least from my perspective, you're focused on doing less. So are you taking more than one trade per day most days, or no? Is it really
No,
simple, just one and
no.
done?
Yeah, for sure, just one. But I actually had someone today reach out to me, and they were telling me they're struggling to find consistency. They have like a 60% win rate, but they can't find the consistency, and they really struggle with swapping L50s. I was like, stop trading swapping L50s. Are you
Imagine
tracking
that.
your? I was like, are you tracking your trades? You seem to be 60% win rate's very good. If you're doing good with perfect L50s, he also said he struggled with the 5 minute. I said, then stick to the 15-minute perfect L50s in trend. Cut out what you're doing bad. You don't have to do much else.
Dude,
It's
you
not
know what's
just revamping everything. It's cut out what you're doing bad.
100%. You know what's funny, bro? Some of the guys that are in like the elite program of the Black Shirt Club, like they've been with me for a couple of weeks, they're the ones that are like doing well, making money, almost funded. And then Raiders, they're like, a couple of them are almost funded. They're like, well, I'm going to start trading counter trend now too. It's like, why? You were doing so well in trend. I don't get what in the human brain makes people want to extend. Is it greed? Is it as simple as that? Like, I don't know. Do you
No, I
get any
think it
thoughts?
is.
Yeah.
It's
You just
just
want more.
greed and emotion. Maybe it's ego that you feel like you're on top of the world because you're doing good that you could switch to something
True.
else.
True. Yeah. You start winning, then the confidence can bleed over. And then it's confidence mixed with like open-mindedness, open-minded to be like, well, I could do this different thing and make money still. Well, no, you can't. Doesn't always
Yeah.
work like that. Right.
Someone else maybe could, but you maybe
Correct.
can't. Maybe you
Yes.
should just stick to in trend.
100%. All right. So let's get into these trades. Let me know. Can you see my screen okay, Ev?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So we're looking first at the FTSE 100. This is from March 9th. So this is a couple of weeks back. A short trade, a nice win here. And some people are going to look at this and say, Ev, you snagged this at a great price. Why didn't you hold this trade all day? Talk us through that. Talk us through, because we can see the B signal, we see the short position, we see it goes 1.1R, and then it bounces back to entry. So talk us through this one.
So a couple things. One thing is I'm at my 1R, so my stop loss is locked and I'm taking profit. Other than that, there was news coming out. I believe it was 8:30, high impact USD news. So I have to get out of the trade anyways. But since I was already up 1R and there's news coming in, I don't need to hold on to it. Yes, it does pull back on the news and stop me out anyways. So I would have got tagged out anyways. But yeah, it pulls back to that same level I was trading off of and then falls under, which we know it could do. We like that level. It's like a magnet for the price. It's just about timing. There was news coming in, so nothing I could do about it.
Yep, 100%. Do you find that you want to get back into this later in the day? Is there any way to get back in at near that price, or maybe even at a lower price, but like that you could still get in and make something of the full move to the downside, or is it outside your trading hours?
I maybe could if it wasn't too far after, like you said, my trading hours. But most of the time, if I'm already up on the day, if I caught that win like I did, then I don't feel the need to jump into another trade and maybe give it back and end the day as a wash.
So why don't I challenge that and say, when you're playing soccer, do they stop the game when they're up 2-0 and they just say, we won?
Nope.
No. So if it comes back to your price, and this is a challenge for all of us, this is where I'm pushing myself in my own trading and even some of the Black Shirt Club guys. I'm like, why not get back in? Why not see the full move through? Where did you think this was going today? Just 1R or lower?
Lower, yeah.
Lower. Yeah. And like you said, another touch off of the zone at yesterday's low of week. That's a strong signal that it's going to now use that as the lower high and maybe move down. Some type of entry in here. I know you could find something, whether it's an afternoon shift candle or a 5-minute A2 or something. That's where I'm finding, for me to give you a little feedback too. That's where I'm finding my second play in the afternoon. Because like my schedule, I leave the desk in midday and then I come back. I'm seeing trades 1, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock our time, bro. Let me look at yesterday on SPX. We don't need to pull it up, but like huge sell-off in the last hour, dropped 2% in the last. So there's moves on these indices, FTSE, US 500, whatever. There's moves in the afternoon on them. I mean, look at this. Who would think this would move? The FTSE 100 would move like this at the end of the New York session. Everybody in London's asleep. So there's clearly something in the dollar and something in America moving this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's well through ADR. It was something.
Something. Yeah. Cool. All right. So this is the first one, a short trade. Let's look at another short trade. So this is GU. So FTSE and GU. That's an interesting pattern there. This one, I want to talk about the Asian range low, because you've been really hot on this on your ASFX TV streams. So talk to us about like that zone and the importance of that Asian range low, and maybe even just walk us through how you drew it here.
Yeah. So for me, there's pretty much two of my favorite zones that I use would be the Asia range higher low and then yesterday's higher low. You can see them both drawn here, but I was using the Asia range low as my probably most popular, and we're moving bearish. We get a retest to that zone, a slight pullback after making a new low a day. I believe we have a perfect L50 on this, and then it just falls.
Yep.
Yeah, full trend. So I'm just getting trend continuation, get a pullback to a key level, and I take it short.
I really like the detail in this, bro, because number one, you're going from key levels, yesterday's low, Asian range low, to low of week. That's amazing, right? Like that's like exactly what you'd expect it to do with the perfect L50. Also, I like that you noted lower highs and lower lows here going into the trade. This lower low right here, beyond this, rather than being a higher low before the trade, I think that's a really, really, really good sign for a good A2. What about volume, bro? I know some people are using volume, some people are not. I'm kind of not. Are you using it? Like, what are you thinking?
If it's decreasing, I'm using it. If it's increasing, I don't. I don't really care.
If it's in my favor, I'm using it. If it's not in my favor, I don't want to pay attention to it. I don't know, because like I'm not sold on like here volume is decreasing, so it speaks to the trade. But even if volume was increasing a little bit, price itself is still moving lower, so you could definitely.
How much is it increasing? I guess if it's like the largest bar of the day, and what the hell just moved that? Maybe I should be concerned about it. But if it's just a tick up, then it could easily the next one could just be decreasing again.
Yeah. And this is nice. 6:45 Eastern time. You're done by 9 o'clock. New York market opens, chops it up. After New York market open, gives you another opportunity to get short even here in the afternoon again. This is a little bit earlier in the day, like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. But another one right back to the level. And that, I mean, you could argue that it's just a retest of this low of day zone here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that.
This is really nice. Space on ADR. Nice L50 right to low of week. It's great.
I mean, if you remember that one compared to GCAD, that was the same day, same looking trade.
Yeah.
But that GCAD looked more bearish, but this one had better EMAs. So I'm in this one with better EMAs and L50.
Do you think eventually you're going to get rid of the L50 because you're not using the RSI for divergence and the A signals tell you what the L50 is doing? So could we get rid of the TDI, do you
Yeah,
think?
I guess that's true. Yeah, I'm just so
Yeah.
used to watching it to see the sentiment of it.
I
How
know.
flat is it? How
I know.
close to 50 is it?
It's true.
But yeah, that's a
You do
good
like
point.
to see the slope of it. That's a good point. That's a
Yeah,
good point. Okay, let's look at this one. Another GBP. This is GJ to the upside. So the trades we've gone over so far, Thursday the 9th, Thursday the 2nd. So on Thursdays, you got trades. Here's a Tuesday trade. Again, this is the opposite. Perfect L50 in the buy zone. If you look at the other two trades, almost a perfect L50 here, perfect L50 here. So there's your pattern. And again, Asian range high, yesterday's high. So you're coming right off of that Asian range high level.
yeah. On this one, we broke above yesterday's high, so we're trying to continuation. We're moving higher still. We retest the Asia range high, perfect L50, and I just take it higher. I know Lindsay took this, and the same thing with this. There's news coming in, so you can't get the whole move, but a nice 1 hour winner.
That's the news candle right there. Yeah. That doji
Yeah,
looking thing. Yeah. So you get 1 hour, no problem, right back up to high a day.
yeah. It
I
was like
love this
45
trade, bro.
minutes.
I love that your stop is underneath the Asian range high. So like if it comes down here, you're not going to want to be buying this anyway. You're going to want to get out of the way because it's coming lower.
Yeah,
So
I say that all the time. That they're off these levels for a reason. That anything below that, I might not like it anymore. And
so
then
it's the lowest
having
price
a
you can buy it.
yeah, having a stop loss below it is like some protection to see
Yeah.
if it could hold this. Chop
Yep.
around, but hold it, and then come
Yep.
higher. If it
Yep.
wants to break it, then that level was just broken.
Sure. Exactly. And here, higher highs, not lower highs before the entry. Again, just made a new high of day, first pullback, boom. So look at that. Again, new low of day, first pullback, boom. You should be paying attention to new low of day, first pullback, boom. So you see that often your best trades here so far, they're the first pullback after a new low of day or high of day. That could be a detail you add into this as well. Sure.
Yeah, I know. I
Everybody
think you
listening.
mentioned it.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned on your stream that for me personally too, I'm finding that my best trades, they don't suffer much drawdown. That's a great price to get in. And if you see these last three, it's just all bullish from the entry, all bearish from the entry. That
100%.
it could still work out if you're chopping around or in drawdown. But how I know it's a really good one is if it's just ripping right away, then that's a good price for me.
Yeah. This one took a little drawdown. So this is a silver trade. Again, perfect L50 off of yesterday's high. We see that. You have an E signal here. So it takes a little drawdown and then it picks up really quickly. What were you thinking in this one? Because this one you do take on some drawdown, which is interesting.
Well, so for this one, if you see the Asia range high is now above yesterday's high. So we're back underneath the Asia range high, which all the other ones we were retesting that one. But like I said, I have two levels and the other one's yesterday's high, and that's what we're off of. So even though we're back inside the Asia range, I still had a level that I was using. So I still felt comfortable with it, especially with the perfect L50. And you can see we made a new high a day outside the Asia range. And what I actually did, I waited 45 minutes. So I avoided those three pins down. I saw the
Mm,
price didn't leave and it held that yesterday high. And I got in there at the same price
love that.
and then straight bullish from there.
Love that. Yeah. If the price has not left the station yet and you can still get in, same stop loss, same entry, it's just avoiding the drawdowns.
Yeah.
Again, that's even probably less pain. You probably took no pain on this. And then look at that, bro. Like you said, it
Yeah.
rips through. Why'd you go 2R on this one? Did you have was it market open coming in or some news coming in that you thought you might catch momentum?
It was ADR. I know I'm up over 1R. That's good. I'm at 2R, and
Yeah.
ADR is generally a good place to take profit. I probably should have taken majority off and let some run because it's pretty early in the day to hit ADR.
Yeah.
But still, even that, no one could have expected to go 6R through ADR that day, but definitely missed some of the move.
It's true. 6R through ADR is crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
So if I do that again next time, that's probably not going to happen.
Right. Fair. Okay. Ecad, 1 hour. I like this one a lot. Where'd you get in on this one? So you see, we have the zone here. Talk us through the zone and then talk us through where you got in exactly.
Yeah. So we have this is on the 1 hour rather than the 15-minute this time, and right in the middle of the screen, that's Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe, and we were looking for longs that day, full trend, but we couldn't break above the high of day resistance. So then we waited. We came back in on Thursday. So that was Tuesday. We came back in on Thursday now above that zone and retesting it. So trend continuation. The L50 has been perfect for 3 days. I'm just going to break and retest.
Perfect. Your entry's a little high off the 21. Where were you in? Were you in on the black bar or were you in the red bar?
The black bar.
Nice. So you wait, you see it kiss that zone a little bit harder, it starts to come off the zone and you're in there. I'm not missing the move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing the A2 stop loss. So you really haven't you've taken the thing that we talked about before. Like, what's the most recent A2? That's the bias I want to trade. Now, what's the stop loss? What's the price I'm currently at? Can we still play? That's how you're looking at these. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm retesting that level, and if I know if it breaks back below it, that's not a great sign that it's continuing higher after we just broke it after bouncing under it a few days. So once we're above it, I want to stay above it. And I actually wrote in my notes today for a different trade that I often find that when it just pins a level, it sometimes wants to pull back and hit it with a full body, just like it did here,
Great
and then it
point.
still turns around.
Great point. I like
So you
that.
can
That's
still
an
consider
interesting.
that the retest, but it might hit you with a full body on the next candle.
That's smart. I'm going to pay attention for that in my pullbacks. That's a really good note. And then what about the overnight swap on this? If it had not moved as much as it did, would you have stayed in for the changeover? Like, what was your plan here?
I mean, as you can see, that this is the 1 hour, and the thing was just bullish for 5, 6 hours, and this was kind of in my head as a swing, but I was still gonna watch it and manage it, and I just don't hold trades overnight, so I closed it overnight
Nice. Okay.
because it was also heading into NFP Friday. I didn't want
And
to wake up
Friday. Yep.
NFP
Yep.
Friday morning and to see what it was gonna do.
I love it. Okay. Now this one's I think the most interesting one out of the whole group as I looked through them before the
Yep.
call. This is something where it's like I will do this occasionally, you'll do this occasionally. It's not our common trade. It's the D2 with divergence on the bottom into A2. So talk us through because I really like this one out of like this is the same kind of one that I would be in myself.
Yeah, I do mark up D2s into A2s, but for me, I do like this one, not just because I took it. But if you read the notes on the very top, that this is EJ, we've been very bullish on all the higher time frames, and we're actually above the 800. So for me, this wasn't going full against trend. This was getting us back into trend. So this was the early movement of us getting back into long-term trend. As
Sure.
you could see earlier, the E signals, they're short. Those aren't full trend either. So we're not going completely against the trend. I was just trying to get back into trend, and it was a valid trade entry for me.
Break, retest, entry. Tough trade at the H signal to take, I think. L50
Yeah,
still in the sell zone. Tough trade to take.
doesn't look
Sec-
bullish yet.
right. Second entry, L50's in the buy zone. Could warrant that for
Yep,
sure.
yep,
Third entry is saying, yo, last chance, Jimmy, before we're out of here to ADR.
yeah.
3R by the end of the day.
New high day off divergence. L50 is now more in the buy zone. The EMAs are now getting into our favor because if you, I don't know if it's on the screen, but by the end of the day with that big bullish move, the EMAs are now
Full
full
trend.
trend long.
Yeah. And what's interesting here, the stop loss again is under the Asian range high zone on a retest of the Asian range high. So it's still like an in trend trade. It's just fed with something else off the bottom. It's just started with something different. And the stop loss, again, it's at a structure point where if it comes back to that, cool, take me out. I can get in a lower buy price if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that one.
With this one, and now seeing that you've tracked these trades to the extent that you have, are you seeing, hey, my average trade goes 4R, I should be staying in these longer than 1R? Or are you not studying that yet?
I think my average goes about 2.5
Okay. So not that much further than
until
1R.
it comes back to tag at
Yeah.
entry and then maybe move higher, but I don't count that.
Right. So not missing too much yet.
Yeah.
No. Good. Okay. Last one. Euro NZD. My least favorite pair out of all the pairs you have on this list. So talk to me about this one. Last week's high right here, resistance. We break above that. We break Asian range high and we retest with an A signal. A means perfect L50, perfect EMA. So in trend. This is clear trend.
Yeah. So we're back underneath the Asia range, like I mentioned, not great. And we're not retesting yesterday's high, which is my second level. But the LWH is last week's resistance, last week's high. We actually bounced off it twice, and now we finally broke above it. So it's not on this picture, but it was very strong. So I really like that. That's why I was comfortable taking it when it was back inside the Asia range, but only because there was a perfect L50 and full trend EMAs. Other than that, I wouldn't try to force it.
You know what's really interesting? New high of day breakout, first pullback. New high of day breakout, first pullback. Every trade we just talked through, new high of day, first pullback. You're trading the first pullback after a new high of day, not the
Yeah.
second or third. You're getting in right after that breakout. You're getting in a really good retest. So I think that plays a part of it. You're trading off of a trampoline with a key level, and you're trading the momentum probably still sprinkled left over from the first breakout, so it's a great combination. With this one, did the stop loss kind of being in no man's land scare you at all? Like it's above this zone, but not tight to this zone. What did you think of that stop loss?
Since we're already under the Asia range and that was last week's zone, if those kept continuing falling underneath the Asia range and last week's high, then I probably wouldn't like the long.
Right. So it's a good stop.
Yeah, it was kind of just that's just where the fib is. I gotta trust it.
Will you
And
grade this one different because it's not off Asian range high? It's off a zone underneath Asian range high. Will this get a smaller position size than the ones that are off Asian range high? Like
I don't. I think I hit it with A just because you're still
this?
off a level. I need structure in all my trades. One of these gray boxes that you see, so a zone or level. But As long as it's off that, then it can get an A. If it's not off a level, then it's never going to get an A signal for me, even if
Right.
it's full trend perfect L50.
Right. And
So
what type of size are you hitting A versus B setups?
so it's zero 0.2 for C setups, which I don't really take
Right.
anymore,
Right.
truthfully, but it would be, and then zero 0.4 and zero 0.6 for
Nice.
B's and A's.
That's really, I mean, a unique risk percentage, but I like that it's not like double. Like the four is not double this, or six is not double the four. So it's just a little bit bigger to make those
Yeah,
A setups worth a little bit more. This is great, bro. I mean, your results speak for themselves. Your percentage gain this year speaks for itself. Your challenge and everything there speaks for itself. So it's like your results show how locked in you are. So if you would speak on just like what have you done in the last 6 months to develop yourself as a trader more, that someone listening that's new or struggling that they could take from this and start doing? What would be one or two things that you say you got to do this and you're going to see more self improvement?
you have to track all your trades. All these markups are stored into a Google sheet. I get real-time stats and analytics of the pairs, the time of day, the day of the week, the direction, the grading, everything. I could see, even like you mentioned, it's the first breakout and retest. I could write that down. And maybe the ones that aren't off that, don't take those. Anything with a swapping L50. What are those outcomes compared to perfect L50s? Because you're probably doing something right. You're probably doing something well, but there's that little bit that's still holding you back. So if you just cut it out, you don't need to try to get rid of it. We're all going to experience the same emotions. We're never going to be perfect. So just cut it out and then maximize on the things you are doing well. For me, I'm doing really well with in trend perfect L50s and the A2. So I'm going to wait for these setups to present. I'm not worried about a shift candle or an A1 for me right now during the London session or Asia session. I wait for my time and I take these signals over and over again. And I don't break my rules of moving my stop, sizing too big, holding on for too long. But you just have to trust your rules as well. That you may not want to do it, but your rules tell you to do something. So just do it. Have
And,
trust in it.
and now, that's great advice. Now that you're at the point where you're at consistently doing well, are you looking like as we look at these wins and we point out even something that you haven't spoken about too much on your streams, just that you're trading the first pullback for new after a breakout, you're trading that really well. Are you going to start looking at these as you mark them all up and study them of like, where could I add in once we get a bullish move off the 21? Could I add risk? Have you thought about doing any of that yet?
No, haven't yet.
Okay. That'll be the next area that I push you to because that's kind of what I'm figuring out now. Like, same thing with you. I trade in trend really well. I'm not the biggest reversal trader, but now that if I'm going to be trading in trend, I want to be maximizing the wins and making them as valuable to me as I can. Even if you end up going 0.6 on the B setup and then going a little bit more, maybe 0.2 more on it. Now you're at 0.8 on that setup. That could be, over time that adds up and makes a big difference on the P&L. So that's
Yeah,
something to think about for you as well.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think this has been great. I think everybody's going to take a ton of value out of this. So let's do this. Since you're always on ASFX TV and everybody knows how to reach you, make sure if you're listening this far through the video, you click the link in the description, you take the free trial to ASFX TV, and you come watch Evan trade live. You'll catch these trades with him. Some of them happen on stream, some of them happen before. Either way, you're going to catch some trades with him throughout the month, and me and Tom and James, and you're going to make your monies back. So if you want to see Evan really applying this stuff, of course, it's easy to show markups. It's still valuable, but it's easy. Come see it live. I think that's where you guys will really be convinced that once you find a strategy, you want to narrow in on it, niche down, and get better at that. Evan's doing a great job at not distracting himself with other things. He's just doing less, doing it better, and he's getting bigger in it every day. So, bro, great stuff. I'm not just gassing you up. Really, I'm proud of you because you've been working hard. You deserve the success that you're having. And I think everyone's going to keep watching you to see what success you have in store and what you continue to learn and share with the group, because you're not just making money for yourself. When you do these streams, you do this video with me, you're sharing insight with people. I know some people watched this video and they were like, I didn't notice that about the A2. Let me add that. So it's valuable. You're making other people money. And on top of that, you're helping them not lose as much, hopefully, too. So
Yeah.
you're doing the good Lord's work here.
I'm trying.
No, bro, it's good. It's good. So everybody listening and watching, we appreciate you. Make sure if you're just listening to today's episode, you check out the video, Spotify, YouTube. It's going to be posted there. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future episodes with me and Evan. And then hopefully we'll see all of you guys on ASFX TV either tomorrow or the next day for the next live stream. Link is in the description for that. Ev, have a great rest of your week, brother. And thank you everybody for listening. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you in the next episode.